just wow. My hair is just a little bit crazy every time I want to film a fun video. Thank you. When someone calls you right at the beginning of your filming, it's I'll say a bit of a twist instead of someone texting me. Okay, this week's video. I understand that last week's video was really sad. And I also am starting to understand that I get into a habit of either filming something really, really happy or really, really fucking depressing or barely in between. And if there's any in between, it's either like kind of happy but mostly sad or really sad but mostly happy. And it's just weird. It's a weird way that my brain works. I get text messages when I'm in the middle of trying to stay on track. Okay, so this week's video, without further ado, it's going to be things I thought or learned as a kid, part 2. I have been wanting to do part 2 for God knows how long, but you know, there's a lot of digging deep into this brain to make a part 2. Part 1 is pretty simple. You just gotta like come up with like maybe 5 or 6 stories. For part 2, I came up with like 4 really monumental things I thought as a kid, and that'll be this week's video. I hope that makes sense. So the first thing that I thought as a kid was, I mean, they're all pretty ridiculous, but this is pretty ridiculous. I thought that drinking pickle juice was going to like prevent me from ever getting injured. Now this definitely needs explaining, but basically when I was a kid my mom always pushed me to drink water and I never ever wanted to drink water, and when she found out how much I liked pickle juice, she used to just buy a jar of pickles and just keep the jar once all the pickles were gone, and so the juice would still be in there. Now, if you've done any researching as an athlete, athletes can actually drink pickle juice and that will heal a wound faster than overhydrating your body. Seriously, Google it, it's science. But I guess I knew about that article when I was like, 7, 8, 9 years old, and I used to just go into the fridge and drink pickle juice, and I thought that was gonna like make me indestructible and I would never ever get physically hurt. Pretty fucking ridiculous, but I used to drink pickle juice all the time. I'll just let you in on it now. I still drink pickle juice if I can, just because it's just your sodium intake for the day. No matter how much you drink, it's at least providing that, if not totally canceling it out for the day, and I like it. Stop judging me! So basically, yeah, I thought that drinking pickle juice was gonna make me like resistant to injuries. I was never, ever, ever going to get injured as long as I drank pickle juice. Okay, so the next thing I thought as a kid, I look back on it now and I think it's kind of cute, but it's still like, oh, you've got the right intentions, but you're so stupid. When I was a kid, I thought that flushing the toilet once a week would save water. And I'll gladly explain this one. When I was in the 6th grade, we were watching this environmental documentary that Al Gore had made, and he was talking about how Americans have a tendency to waste water. Whether it's through bottles or through the toilet, it always gets wasted. Now, a big focus on this documentary was flushing the toilet. Basically, he was describing that the toilet is the place where we waste the most water every day, just because we're using it all the time, and we literally make the water dirty and just kind of throw it away. And when I watched this documentary, I thought, I think I could help. I was not about to scale back on the amount of times that I went to the bathroom. No way. But when I was at my house, there was like this series of days where I just didn't flush the toilet. And that's so disgusting. It's so gross. My dad came into my bathroom and he was, for some reason, not that freaked out, but he like came up to me and was like, Alex, why does your toilet look like that? I was proud of what I was doing, but just from the tone of his voice, it already sounded like I was in trouble. I just said, oh, like, I'm saving water. Simple as that, I'm just saving water. And my dad just lost it. He lost it laughing. It was like always really hard to make him laugh. And just in this moment, he was like, you can save water way better ways than that. Alex, that toilet's gonna get clogged. It's disgusting. Like, Alex, you need to flush the toilet every time you go to the bathroom. And I was like, okay. So yeah, when I was a kid, thanks to that Al Gore documentary, I thought that if I flushed the toilet once a week, I would be saving water. And then the next thing that I thought or learned as a kid, part 2, whatever way I'm gonna actually choose to function that sentence, phrase that sentence. Wow, Alex, words. There's so many different ways to like go into this next one. This next thing went into about my sophomore or even junior year of high school. The next thing that I want to share is actually something I thought about school buses. Now, a lot of times it's, actually kind of a joke. School buses are filled with children. It's a moving vehicle that is literally responsible for all those kids' safety. But they don't have seat belts. And a lot of people think that's kind of ridiculous. Like how important it is to wear a seatbelt in the car. Why is it that a school bus doesn't have any seatbelts that actually work on the entire bus? Like, that makes no sense at all. Now, in my head, I think, well, maybe there aren't any seatbelts on the school bus because the school bus only drives through like neighborhood-like areas. It can't go that fast, so it shouldn't need a lot of seatbelts. That was my mentality for a really long time. I am on my way to a swim meet, my junior fucking year of high school. The swim meet is not exactly, down the corner by your local gas station. We needed to get on the highway to get to this swim meet. And I remember I was on the bus and I was like, wait a second. We're on the highway, you guys. And everybody just kind of, looked at me and was like, yeah, what's your point? But school buses can't go over 35 miles an hour. School buses can go over 35 miles an hour, Alex! Oh my god! Oh god. For the longest time, I thought that because school buses didn't have seatbelts and only drove in residential areas, stop it, emails. That's the only place that I ever, got dropped off on the bus, that it didn't make sense that the bus even went over 35 miles an hour because that just wouldn't be safe. So we're on the highway and I'm like, well, this makes no sense. How are we going the speed limit for the highway, which is like 65 or 70, when a bus can't go over 35 miles an hour? Usually in the stories that I've shared with you guys, my parents were the ones that looked at me like I was crazy. In this moment, my peers looked at me like I was crazy. I got over it super quickly, but that's just how my brain worked. For a long time, I just thought that a bus couldn't go over 35 miles an hour. And the last story that I will share with you guys before the video comes to an end is actually one of the most legendary Alexandra stories ever told on the face of, I will say, the Ohio planet. When I was a kid and I was living in Virginia, I didn't have that much of a social life, but the child in me still was really, really hopeful, and I used to try to collect all these toothbrushes if a friend ever came over or a guest. I was kind of selfish, and I kept 4 out of those 5 toothbrushes for myself, and one of them was for the possible friend or guest that I would have over. Now, I had this one toothbrush that I never used for I don't know, 4 or 5 years, from the 2nd until the 6th grade. And it wasn't until the 7th grade that I realized, when I'm about to move to Ohio, I'm packing up all my stuff from Virginia, and I found what I called the Guest Toothbrush. And I'm sorry, I can't tell the story with a straight face. It was just supposed to be for anybody that ever came over to the house. My friend, or maybe even my dad's friend. If my dad's friends ever came over, I'd be like, here, I have a toothbrush for you. I had one toothbrush for multiple people to use, and I literally called it the Guest Toothbrush. And it was... I don't remember to this day if more than one person ever used it, but since I collected all of the other toothbrushes for myself, okay, it wasn't until the 7th grade that I looked at it and I was like, oh yeah, the Guest Toothbrush. I remember this. Oh my god. I was gonna make multiple people use the same toothbrush. I dropped it because I couldn't believe how stupid I was. I had the best intentions. It's just trying to be hospitable for anybody that ever came over. 2nd grade Alex was just trying to be prepared. Oh man. That is unsanitary. Don't do that. Do not give more than one person the same toothbrush. I guess if anybody from Virginia that knew me as a kid is watching this now and they remember like me offering them a toothbrush, I'm just apologizing to you now, but there's no guarantee that you're the only person that ever used that toothbrush. So there you have it, the most embarrassing and probably fun-filled, smiley memories of the way that Alex's brain worked when she was a kid, part 2. I will put my links for my social media accounts in the description box below. I really hope you guys enjoyed this week's video. I know that I was long overdue to make a happy video, and that's usually how it goes with my postings. I do something like reasonable, something really sad, really happy. Something reasonable, really sad, really happy. It's just the way that the cycle of my daily brain goes through. I don't know. This was the happy video. There is nothing in this video that is realistic at all, except for the fact that, you know, they were real stories. You know, lots of girls want volume in their hair. That is the last thing that I need. The only crazy hair story I have to tell you guys is that a lot of people are commenting on it now. It's weird how I have not gotten it retouched ever. It's just that it's getting back into that old routine where every time I shampoo it or use a different shampoo, it will change. So it's this color right now. The crazy in me is still on the inside. It'll just work its way back to the outside. I promise. I hope you guys have a really great day. I'll see you guys hopefully next week. I'm gonna film something actually I'm really excited about. I'm really excited about what I'm gonna post next week. Please stay tuned. And in the meantime, I will see you all next week. Bye!